Hey, Shalom Yashrala. This your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So as you can see in this here news article right now, man, hey, again, these prophecies are speaking heavily right now, all right? And this is why we keep going in, you're hearing a lot of brothers going into all these things and so like you're bringing out the prophecies concerning this, and rightfully so, because we're in the year of prophecy first and foremost, all right? And second of all, with these things going on over in Iran, you have a lot of these, not to say we really care about these non-believers or these heathens or anything like that, but now it's like a wake-up call to these people over here. They starting to take things serious, man. All right, we've been at war over in the Middle East really since like 2001, man, all right? But nevertheless, and a lot of people, hell, a lot of these Americans over here forget about that, man. Oh, it's whatever. They make statements about all those little towel heads or whatever, whatnot, things like that, man. But now this is getting them all shook up, man. This is getting them all in some type of frenzy or whatever, whatnot, man. I came across this video about, what was it called? World War III memes. And they were showing like all these different people posting these little things up or whatever, whatnot about World War III. And a lot of them, they were kind of funny, but a lot of them was, how do you say, you can see, like real comedy, there's some truth in comedy, but nevertheless, you see a lot of these people and they were tripping about this and tripping about that. And the majority of these Americans don't want to be involved in this here situation. It's more or less like a wake up call to them. They're now taking these things serious when, like the whole Syria conflict, a lot of Americans don't even know that we was over there in Syria and shit was popping off over there. They don't even know about any of the other countries other than Iraq. But nevertheless, since this here happened, as the year started out, it started out with a real big bang, man. All right. But nevertheless, you're seeing these tensions rise up, and not saying that, World War III is tomorrow or anything like that. But nevertheless, this is the preparation for, the Lord mustering the troops over into the Middle East, man. All right. And this is what's going on. And, like I'm going to in this here lesson. All right. Over there in the Middle East. Right. You had for the longest, like I said, damn near almost 20 years, man. All right, damn near the last 20 years, America's been over there in the Middle East fighting these different nations, and, they have some allies over there in the Middle East. Some of these countries over there are actually America's allies, and so what you have, and also on top of that, you have, how do I put it? I want to try to word this correctly because, people think Muslims is a race of people. Right. But nevertheless, these Arabs over there. All right. There's a bunch of Arabs that live over there. And not all of these Arabs are pretty much on the same page. Put it that way. They have differences because like religious beliefs, Nevertheless, we will call them all Islamic. But nevertheless, there's differences. Just like here in America, you can say, oh, you're a Christian. Well, how many different denominations of Christianity do you have, And why don't y'all all pretty much worship in the same church? Not saying that you're supposed to do that, but why do you have your own building and they have their own building, because of their differences? And this is like the same thing that's going on over there, You don't see Protestants and Methodists and Baptists all in the same church, you know what I'm saying? Things like that, But nevertheless, and then also you had just, how do you say, religious versus secular people over there in the Middle East and things like that. There's a lot of these secular people over there is trying to move away from their so-called ties and heritage or whatever, whatnot. They want to just so-called live the life. But nevertheless, a lot of these people in those secular people, they're more, how do I say, have more of a Western belief. You see them walking around with some Jordans on or some shit like that, so on and so forth, trying to break away from their heritage or their culture, But nevertheless, with these things is popping off, especially with the assassination of Soleimani. All right. All this is doing is uniting all these people over there, man. All right. Not just the people in Iran. All right. Like I said, because they got a religious divide there, political divide there. You know what I'm saying? How you say a religious versus secular divide over there. You have a bunch of different divides that's going on over there. All right. Then you also, I already mentioned the political divide. The people are somewhat coming up against their government, over the gas price hikes or whatever, whatnot they just recently had out there, and those people was out there kind of pissed about that and they was protesting about it, But nevertheless, with this here thing happening, you could go back and look at what's his name, Soleimani's funeral, and you see just like a sea of people out there, man. It's just droves and droves and droves of people, man. All right, so what this is doing is, like I said, not only is uniting these Iranians, all right, because think about here in America, right? You have this big diversity here in America, man. All right, we're gonna just talk about Judah and Esau, right? So, Judah and Esau has had this horrible history of racism and hatred or whatever. Well, it was really Esau banging on us. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can read that in the scripture. For thy violence against thy brother, shame shall cover thee. All right, Esau purposed in his heart to kill Jacob, you know what I'm saying, and so on and so forth, But nevertheless, Esau's the aggressor. But nevertheless, just dealing with Judah and Esau, all right, Esau had been the aggressor over here, man. So Judah had always been looked down upon over here, especially with the history of slavery and so on and so forth, And so, and if you're a Judahite, what I'm saying, a so-called black man, you know what it's like just living here in America, man. All right, you know what it's like when the police get behind you, whatever, whatnot, or people just profiling you or whatever it is, People, you walk into the store, people over there watching you, make sure you don't steal or whatever, whatnot. Like, damn, I got money. You know what I'm saying? I just pulled up in this brand new Rolls Royce. We at the damn dollar store. Why you following me? You know what I'm saying? I got enough money in my pocket to buy the whole store. What you tripping about? You know what I'm saying? Lo and behold, these Edomites over here walking out the damn store with everything, But nevertheless, you seen this here dividing this hatred, And, you also had so-called Muslims here, or the Nation of Islam, you know what I'm saying? That type, you know what I'm saying, versus Christians and, Jewish people or whatever, whatnot. We're not even going to talk about the Jewish people. But nevertheless, you had these different religions and everything like that, Atheists versus believers and so on and so forth, But after 9/11 happened, you know what I'm saying, all that division, brought everybody together, man. You know what I'm saying? For a slight amount of time here in America, man, Judah kind of felt, knew what it was to somewhat be like an equal to Esau here, man. He wasn't necessarily being looked down upon, you know what I'm saying? You could be walking into the store or whatever, whatnot, what do you call them, one of them redneck ass Edomites or whatever, whatnot. They just roll up, hold on, let me get the door for you there, sir. You know what I'm saying? Or you reaching through your pocket to get some change to finish paying for your bill. The Edomite go over there and pay for your shit, you know what I'm saying? And, you see this divide wind up closing in, that gap wind up closing in after 9/11, man. Everybody was all hugging and holding each other and everything else like that because this one thing, how do I say, brought us all together, more or less to say, This is the same thing that's going on over in Iran right now, man. And you storing up the hornet's nest, Not only that, I'm just speaking on just Iran, but not just that. Like I said, you got a lot of these people over in the Middle East, so to say. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these people over there, the majority of them are all Muslims. You know what I'm saying? They got different sects of being Muslims or whatever, whatnot. But guess what? After all this situation, not all those people over there are friends. All right, this is one of the things I kind of want to touch on. Like, when Saddam Hussein was alive, right, one thing that America and Iraq was a vassal state of America before this whole situation began with. You know what I'm saying? Because America is the one who put Saddam Hussein in power and armed him with all his weapons and stuff like that. Like they talk about how Saddam Hussein was gassing, who was it? Not the, was it the Kurds? No, it wasn't the Kurds. Damn, I forgot who it was. What was it? The people of Qatar? Nevertheless, apparently, they was talking about how Saddam Hussein, and this was one of the reasons why they said, oh, he's a bad guy, we need to go over there. You know what I'm saying? He got weapons of mass destruction. He got this sarin gas. Like, well, the reason you know that he got the shit is because y'all the one who sold it to his ass to use him as a proxy to fight your wars against other people, man. All right, and so what America was doing, all right, they was basically using Saddam Hussein to wage a proxy war against Iran, all right? And this also happened again with like, you have to understand about the Taliban, right? The Taliban was created by the U.S. government, to fight against Russia, basically, in a proxy war. This is what this whole situation was about, and it's crazy because they talk about, oh, the Taliban are the terrorist group. You know what I'm saying? We got to go to Afghanistan to get rid of the Taliban. And now they over there, Donald Trump making negotiations to turn Afghanistan over to the Taliban's hand to govern it. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all just spent all this money trying to kill them. Now y'all going to give them the leadership. But nevertheless, so like going back into this Iraq and Iran relationship, all right, they wasn't really ever friends, man. They was actually against one another. They was actually fighting against one another, and they didn't really have, they wasn't really cool with each other, But nevertheless, through this here whole situation is going out, you read in the situation how Soleimani got killed in Iraq. The reason he was in Iraq, it was two people. I believe it was actually more than two people that got killed, but the two main people that got killed was basically Soleimani, all right, which is an Iranian, the number 2 guy in Iran. Then you had a really high ranking official of Iraq, all right. But nevertheless, once this here strike wound up happening, first of all, they was going to go broker some kind of peace deal, all right? Because it is actually a new government over there. But these people over there are actually tired of America's presence over there because they woke up one morning and realized, like, damn, since these motherfuckers came over here to get rid of Saddam Hussein, these motherfuckers done fucked up the country way worse than he did. They killing more of us than Saddam ever did, you know, or whatever, whatnot. You know, they seeing who the real enemy was, you know. So now they waking up to this, and not just them, all these Middle Eastern, so-called Middle Eastern nations, you know what I'm saying? All these Arab nations or whatever, whatnot, you know? They're looking at how America went through and started rape, robbing, and pillaging these different countries, you know, Libya, Iraq, and they tried to do it in Syria, you know, and they trying to get over in Iran with this situation, you know, Afghanistan. All right, so what they doing now is basically putting their differences to the side, man, to fight one common enemy. Like I said back in 9/11, man, you had that diehard hatred between Esau and Judah, you know what I'm saying, with the racism or whatever, whatnot, really all of Israel, but you know what I'm saying, I'm just talking about Judah right now because you know, talk about the rednecks and, you know, so on and so forth. But nevertheless, you know, you had this here strong hatred or whatever, whatnot, you know, in this history that happened here on this here soil. But all of a sudden after September 11th, they had a common enemy, so they was banding together, you know. They're like, oh shit, man, we ain't even gonna be allowed to bang on each other if these motherfuckers come over here and kill us, so we need to at least get rid of them so that we can at least live in peace, or at least get back to fighting one another, you know. Before it ain't gonna be none of us to even be fighting, you know what I'm saying? This is what's going on in the Middle East right now, man. All right, all this time that we've been over there, damn near 20 years, we've been over there disrupting that whole Middle East, man. The whole Middle East has been on fire for like, damn, a long ass time, man. But now all of a sudden they all is looking together, and they're uniting themselves with one another, man. All right, so I just want to read this here. This is a little quick article, and I'm gonna just read like one scripture real quick. It's not gonna be a very long lesson, but I just wanted to point out this, you know what I'm saying, especially, you know, how a lot of, you know, you Akim out there are watching, you know what I'm saying, these videos and these times that's going on or whatever, whatnot, and you know, you seeing these prophecies starting to come to pass, but it's not, you know, like the scriptures say, hey, you're going to hear about wars and rumors and wars, but the end is not yet. You know, these are all the beginning of sorrows, all right? But nevertheless, what's going on here is what they call the Middle East, all right? These Arabs, and really the Iranians, they're not Arabs, all right? They're not even, so the Arabs would be Ishmael in the scriptures, right? But nevertheless, Iran, they're not Arabs, all right? They're actually Persians, all right? Which they come from the line of Japhet, you know. So that would be basically like us saying, okay, you know, even though the so-called black man and the so-called African man, you know what I'm saying, got the same skin, damn near the same skin color or whatever, whatnot, from a distance, they might look the same, but yet and still they two far completely different people, you know. The so-called white man, the so-called black man, the so-called Arabs, the so-called Chinese, the so-called Japanese, these people DNA is so much more closer together than the so-called black men and the so-called Africans, even though we look a lot more similar to them than we do to the so-called Chinese man, all right? And when you go back biblically, all right, because that would be the so-called Africans are so-called, or they're Hamites, all right? The so-called black man, the so-called Chinese man, the so-called white man, the so-called Arab, the Arabs, all these are Shemites, all right? And it's crazy because these damn Jewish people will talk, oh, you're being anti-Semitic, and they always calling this out to the people that are Shemitic, you know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? So when you deal with, you know, you can look at these people because they somewhat all in the same region or somewhat close to one another, you know what I'm saying? And they have like the same religion or somewhat of a similar religion. People think that they're all the same, but they're not the same people, man. And again, these people actually had a divide with one another. They wasn't really cool like that, man. But now all of a sudden they got this here outside threat, and now they want to band together. Hey, really, just like the scriptures, man. You know, like in the scriptures say about 2nd Ezra chapter 13 about how, you know, they was going to be fighting one another, but then when the Lord returned, they're going to basically stop fighting one another, and they're going to join together and fight Yahushua, you know? Just like Ronald Reagan said, it's like, you know what, you know, roughly paraphrasing how he said it, he was like, you know, what if we had some kind of outside threat? We would see, you know, we would put our small differences aside and see that we have one common enemy, all right? We would band together to fight that common enemy. And so this is, again, what you're starting to see right now because, like I said, the whole Middle East has been set on fire. The resources have been plundered, all right? All the infrastructure is damn near destroyed over there, all right? But nevertheless, you know, these nations are now, you know, the weakest saying now, you know, the weakest saying we're strong now, you know? And really, their strength is coming in with them banding together right now, you know? Like the scripture also said, house divided upon itself can't stand, you know? So these people in this here same region that's got the same enemy that's pillaging all of them, Now they starting to band together to fight back against them. You know, well, they're not about to fight back right now. You know, they're going to, you know, you got the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast, that has to be implemented first. But you see in the gathering of these here troops, I did a video, I believe yesterday it was, about this here situation, about them being gathered up. You know what I'm saying? They're all being drawn over there, you know. But nevertheless, I'm going to read this here article. It says, killing Soleimani, wake-up call to get rid of the U.S. presence in the region. Iran's envoy to the UN. So, you know, a lot of moves have been being made and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, and another thing I want to say about that attack, you know, Iran wasn't looking to kill or hurt or harm anybody. You know, they was just showing a show of force to show that, look, bro, we not scared. Like the scripture say, let the weak say I'm strong, man. And then also, you know, they what we were about to get into, they're starting to band together, man. All right, because ultimately it's going to be like, you can read, we went through this the other day, Ezekiel 38, how Russia's going to be a guardian to all these nations, man. All right, and basically, you know, because you got these Americans over here, all right, they're all in league with these, basically all these Europeans, right? I'm using them by those names because Russia's an Edomite as well too, but the Americans and the Europeans, they all in conglomeration. So you got, for lack of a better term, all the white people band together, right, to fight against basically all the how you say all the darker nations, more or less, to say, like the what do you call them? I forgot the name. Them Arabs, all right, the Chinese, and so on and so forth, you know. But nevertheless, you know, and they're gonna be all in league with Russia, you know. But and then we also know ultimately that America's allies are gonna turn on them. But nevertheless, these are the things that's bringing these nations together to fulfill their prophecy, man. All right, because again, when you go into the history of a lot of these countries, they wasn't always friends with one another, man. A lot of these countries really didn't do business with one another. They was like, yo, we don't really like y'all, or, you know, we got differences, or we waging war with one another. But nevertheless, now you're starting to see them put all their differences to the side, man, for this one thing, man. You know, that killing was damn near the straw that broke the camel's back, man. So now they starting to, you know, wake up and fulfill prophecy, like we went into. Wake up all the mighty men and let them draw near the war, man. All right. So this one says, the killing of Qasem Soleimani by the U.S. has not only crossed crucial red lines, but provided an impetus to the American troops to expel the American troops from the Middle East. The Iranian envoy to the UN office in Geneva told RT. So let me read this one more time. This part here says, but provided an impetus to expel American troops from the Middle East. So who is the ones that's coming together is making this how you say, this idea? Oh shit, you know, maybe we should get rid of the damn. If we all band together and vote this motherfucker off the island, you know what I'm saying? You got to get enough votes or whatever, whatnot. So now, who's having all these talks, man? All right, it's these nations that's over in the Middle East, man. And one of these nations that's somewhat over in the same region is Iran. All right, I don't really like saying the Middle East because that's some made up bullshit that they came up with. All right, but nevertheless, it says the assassination of Major General Soleimani has surpassed the red line that distinguished barbarism from civilized rules of engagement. I'm not going to try to pronounce these people's names either. But nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? Exactly, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, how you going to go over there and assassinate, you know, a military person, somebody in the military, let alone the top military person, man? You basically try to cut off the head of the snake, man, militarily wise. So how would that happen? How would that look over here in America, man? All right. Yo, we would be going to war for that, man. Let them take out the Secretary of Defense or something like that, man. All right. Let them take out a private in the military and see what happened, man. You see what I'm saying? America, oh, that was an act of war. They killed some U.S. servicemen in a line of battle or whatever, whatnot. This is a act of war. But nevertheless, this is basically the straw that broke the camel's back, man. So now these nations are looking to one another like, how long are we gonna let this bully? You know how is the hammer of the whole earth broken asunder, right? Like the scriptures say. But now these nations are saying, how long are we gonna let this here hammer keep pounding us out, man? You know what I'm saying? So now they starting to prepare themselves, waking up the mighty men, drawing them to war. You know, the Most High is doing that, but you know, they're beating their plowshares and pruning hooks and basically into swords and stuff like that. Military might, building up their military. You know, Iran first was like wanting the nuclear agreement to get nuclear energy to provide energy and electricity out there to their people. But now it's like, well, why do we even want? Why would, you know? And beforehand, they wasn't really trying to so-called develop a nuclear bomb, which is retarded for them to try to even develop a nuclear bomb to begin with when they can just buy them. You see them saying, and reproduce them, like it's nothing. All right, but nevertheless, you know, and that's a whole nother debacle with that story. But nevertheless, you know, what would stop them from trying to acquire certain weapons from Russia, man? S-400s, you know what I'm saying? S-300s, S-400s, so they don't get bombed on, you know what I'm saying? Air raided or anything like that, man. All right, what's stopping them from sitting here creating America actually at one point in time tried to create, and they still might have this in the talk, try to create an Arab NATO, basically, like how they got NATO, which is basically all of the EU, basically all these Edomites, you know what I'm saying? Save Russia, But nevertheless, you got like the EU and all of them, and then you also have like America, and then you have Canada, and then you also have Turkey, which a lot of them are Edomites as well too, But nevertheless, going back into this here situation, all right, America tried to provide an Arab NATO, basically, so that they can use these Arab nations that are their allies to go up against these other Arab nations. All right, they're trying to use their own people to fight against them. But nevertheless, these types of moves here are it's like the smoke clearing. People are starting to wake up. They're starting to sober up. They're like, hold on, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm over here tripping over you stepping on my shoes and shit. This motherfucker just stole all of my shit. You know what I'm saying? He just ran into my car. He just slapped my wife. You know what I'm saying? I'm over here bitching about you. You know what I'm saying? You did something small and minuscule. You didn't say excuse me. You didn't hold a door open. That ain't that big of a deal. You know what I'm saying? But you rolling up and slapping somebody's wife, bro. Oh, hold up, cuz you can't be doing all that, bro. I'm gonna have to put my hands on you now. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's going on right now, man. The smoke is clearing. These people are sobering up. It's like, all right, this has been going on for so long, but ultimately it's the Most High working on the minds of these kings. All right. It says, the diplomat argued that the raid served as a wake-up call for the people in the region and beyond. That's, the sole purpose of these things, man. Drawing these nations together, man. Sewing up that divide that they had, man. All right, bring them all out, basically in arms up against America. All right, it says, I think this is the beginning of a process. The people of our region will get rid of American presence because it has brought nothing except misery, war, and hatred. Hey, it's clear as day, man. Hey, Habakkuk 2 and 3. All right, it's clearly speaking right now, man. All right, this vision is clearly speaking, and it's not tarrying, man. All right, it's not gonna lie, it's not tarrying. It's right here, man. We've been reading the scriptures and bringing out the prophecies for so long. People called us crazy or whatever, whatnot. But now this is on the mainstream media news, man. All the damn selective draft service website shut down the other day. It crashed the other day because so many people was looking for looking at the scared of being drafted. They also had these fake text messages coming out talking about you gotta head to your local recruitment station or whatever, whatnot, and so on and so forth. Had a lot of people scared about that as well too, man. All right, so hey, man, this was like people are now starting to take this here serious, man. These prophecies clearly speaking, man. All right, there's other nations waking up saying, "Are thou become weak as we?" All right, but real quick, I just wanted to, matter of fact, because I was gonna read that real quick through. Let me get to let me go to Isaiah 14 and 10. It says, let me go to 9. It says, hell, this is talking about Esau. It says, hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. Going into what? Regime change, putting up these puppets and everything else, man. America goes in, just like, look at Iraq as a prime example, man. They went in and took out Saddam Hussein, which they actually put him up over there, all right? Put up Saddam Hussein, then wound up taking him out of power. Then you seen the so-called vacuum of so-called terrorists taking over, which is ISIS. You know what I'm saying? But that was America as well, too. But nevertheless, you see all these things going bad for these people, man, throughout regime change, man. All right? It says, verse 10, and this is the thing, with that regime change and invading these countries and stealing their resources brought us to where we at now, man. All right, that strong American presence over there and what they call the Middle East and so on and so forth. These nations are sick and tired of them being in their backyards. Like, nah, bro, y'all got to go now. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, we allowed you to come and stay here till you got up on your feet. You know what I'm saying? Because we was feeling bad for you or whatever, whatnot. But now you done moved in, started painting up the damn house, inviting people over to my crib, having parties, and they drinking up my liquor and so on and so forth. This is what these people are basically saying now. Like, hold up, bro. You're supposed to be over here to clean up these terrorists or whatever, whatnot, but you done made way more of a mess than they did, You actually the real terrorists, man. So now these nations are banding together, all right, to basically put them out, man. And they're going towards Russia to be able to get these military weapons and everything else like that. Not just the weapons, but they going, cutting them off from the petrodollar as well, too, But nevertheless, keep reading verse 10. It says, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? All right, and that's what they, this is what Iran is trying to telegraph with their statement with these here bombings. Again, they wasn't aiming to kill or hurt nobody or do no real major damage. They were just showing like, bro, hey, you want smoke, bro? We bought all that smoke, bro. I mean, like, shit, you want to do this? Like, we ain't got no problem firing rockets on y'all. We ain't scared like that, bro. Yeah, and then we'll tweet up our flag like Donald Trump did. Like, yeah, we bought that smoke. What you about? You really living that life that you talking about? Or so on and so forth, you know? But nevertheless, again, this is, you know, these nations starting to stand up, you know? Let me touch on this. I just brought this out the other day, but Joel 3:9, it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war and wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. And so, look, this is what you see and happen right now, man. All these men of war are being drawn together, being called together. They being united with, you know, the Iraqi, I don't, they don't got necessarily a military, but they got like a defense force that America is basically trying to build up over there. All right. And then they trying to get together with Iran right now, man. All right. And again, they wasn't really friends or nothing like that to begin with. But now the situation that America didn't caused over there is causing them to, like, you know, we need to put our little small differences aside, because if we allow this motherfucker to stay over here, neither one of us will be over here. You see what they just did to your country. Now they trying to do the same shit to my country. All right, now, if we allow them to keep staying over here, none of us will be over here. So we need to put our differences to the side and work on this here problem that we got, man. All right? And let me just keep reading. Verse 10, beat your plowshares and the swords and your pruning hooks and the spears. Let the weak say I am strong. All right? And like I was saying, you know, first Iran, you know, was not really looking for no nuclear bombs and no shit like that, man. All right? Because granted, they probably already got them because dealing with Russia, you know what I'm saying? That's who's selling these shits to them anyway. But nevertheless, and they're going to be a guardian to them, as you can read in Ezekiel 38. But nevertheless, they just wanted fucking nuclear energy, you know what I'm saying, to be able to provide energy to their people, man. All right, but now what's really like, you know, it's like, damn, they kept threatening us about getting a bomb and trying to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. Nigga, we ain't worried about that shit. I got bills and shit I'm trying to worry about over here, man. But then now this shit is happening. It's like, you know what? Fuck these bills, bro. I might need to go get me a nuclear bomb and wipe y'all off the face of the earth, because really, my lights being cut off ain't the biggest problem that I got. You trying to blow my whole house up is way worse than my lights not being cut on. You know what I'm saying? What's the point of my having lights on in the house that ain't there no more, man? So this is waking these people up to making them how do I say, prepare their militaries and stand up like that. All right, being militarily prepared, man. All right, verse 10, beat your plowshares and the swords and your pruning hooks and the spears. Let the weak say I am strong. All right, and this is what you see going on right now, man. Who would have ever thought that any country besides, you know, maybe a China or Russia, not really even them, all right, to make an attack towards America like that, man. All right, but nevertheless, you know, you starting to see these weaker nations saying now that they're strong. All right, it says oh man, I don't want to read too much. So verse 11, assemble yourselves and come ye all the heathen and gather yourselves together round about. Thither let me read this again slowly. Assemble yourselves, all right, and this is what you're starting to see with these different nations, all right, these different nations that's over there in that region. They're all banding together trying to kick America out, all right? They're looking for their best interests. It's like, damn, bro, we got to get rid of homeboy before we all, you know, it's like living in a big-ass apartment building, all right, and you got one neighbor that's always playing his music all extra loud, and you can't never sleep. Another neighbor with the kids running through the hallways and shit like that. Another one that's selling drugs and shit. They always got people knocking on the door all damn night. You know what I'm saying? So on and so forth, right? But then you got this one neighbor that's over here got a goddamn meth lab in the goddamn house, and he finna blow up the whole apartment building. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what? I'm tired of your kids running through the hallway. I'm tired of y'all music. I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of that shit. But guess what? I can kind of deal with that shit, but what I can't deal with is the homeboy over here with this meth lab and my whole fucking house and everything about to blow up. You know, you about to blow up the whole apartment building, man. We got to get rid of him. You know what I'm saying? We need to all band together, you know what I'm saying, and try to get him evicted about this bitch real quick. You know what I'm saying? Before we all lose all of our livelihoods, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you down there smoking crack in your apartment gonna really only get you fucked up. The police roll up on your ass. You know what I'm saying? But homeboy with his meth lab over here, he gonna blow up the whole apartment building. And this is basically what you got going on right now, man. This is why these nations are being assembled right now and gathering themselves one to another, all right? Assemble yourselves and come all ye heathen, gather yourselves together round about, all right? Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down. And this is what you're starting to see, man. Hey, better believe that these nations, you know, they didn't just have this attack and then hear Donald Trump say, no, we cool, everything cool, and they just go back to their normal everyday life. You better believe that even if they have a draft, you see what happened over there? How many of those regular Iranian citizens you think is signing up for the military right now? And like, you know what? I'm tired of this. Just like after 9/11, man. We didn't have no draft after 9/11, but you had a vast increase of amount of troops going over there, or a vast amount of civilians signing up to be soldiers, man. All right, so what do you think is going on over there in Iran right now, man? All right, that's just on the civilian level. But what do you think is going on now in that whole region when it's coming to how do I say politically, like with these nations leaders, man? Don't you think they're making deals with one another, trying to how you say evict America from out that region to bring stability to that region? All right, let me get to where I was going to try to get at to begin with. I was just going to read this, but it's been coming out a lot lately though. Second Ezra 15:28. It says, "Behold, a horrible vision and an appearance thereof from the east." All right, and this was the Middle East. That's what they calling it, right? The Middle East over there, and this is a horrible vision, man. All right, this long ass drawn out war that America ain't been able to accomplish. Every one of those countries basically over there that they invaded or whatever, whatnot. None of them ended the way they wanted to end. All right, Iraq, yeah, they took out Saddam Hussein. Yeah, they fucked all that shit up. But now look, they being kicked out of Iraq, man. All right, and now the Iraqis are trying to partner up with the Iranians, which is America's enemy, which they wanted to use their lands that they got over there that they was acquiring to basically strike up against Iran. All right, so they losing one of their pawns there. All right, you have Afghanistan that they went into. All right, they had to try to get rid of the Taliban over there. Now you see Donald Trump over here handing over basically the governance of Afghanistan back to the Taliban. So that whole time the American troops was over there fucking shit up. It was, a waste of a cause. So they tell you, you know what I'm saying? But we know the real reason they was in Afghanistan was for those poppy fields. All right, they had soldiers over there guarding the poppy fields, and from the poppy plant is basically what you can make heroin out of. This is where they get all this synthetic heroin. If you notice that epidemic came to a rise after we went over in Iraq, man, or Afghanistan, Slovakia. But and it's also funny that they wanted to go over there and drug deal and kill them people so they could drug deal, but really all that shit came back to harm their own people and their children. But nevertheless, hey, Syria, we tried to invade go up in Syria and depose Bashar al-Assad, man. All right, but guess what? Russia stepped in and stopped that from happening, man. All right, and now America's been saber rattling and provoking Iran for so long, but now Iran is standing up, man. Now America have to choose their words and their steps wisely and how they do certain things. After the drone got shot down, normally in a scenario like that, man, America would just we fuck y'all. We ain't even gonna tell y'all what we're gonna do. We hitting y'all right now, But after that, they had to sit there and consider, like, you know what? Yeah, we can go over there and fuck up Iran, but then what's the outcome of all these other nations over there, man? You know what I'm saying? They might start bombing on Israel. Then you're going to have China and Russia that's going to back these people up, plus all these other nations that's in the Middle East and the majority of the ones in Africa, man. All right, they're going to all wind up coming against us, And really, the Edomites are the minority of the earth, man. All right, they just had rulership right now, and they was living by the sword. But nevertheless, as they're falling from out of their power seat, man, and these prophecies are coming to pass, that they're being drawn out to this here battle where they're going to be buried at. All right, this is what you're seeing happen, man. This unity against all of these people that's been hammered down and beat down by America, man. They all now starting to band together and come up against America, man. All right, so it says, 2 Ezra 15:28, "Behold, a horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, and all they which hear them may fear and tremble." All right, the dragons of Arabia, you talking about those Arabs, them Arabs over there, right? Who the fuck is scared of them Arabs? Like, as far as militarily wise, like what nation over there come on, bro? Like, especially living over here in America, like, bro, ain't nobody sweating none of them. The military is over there, right? But nevertheless, hey, because they got a lot of them got old, outdated military equipment and shit like that. Really nothing sophisticated. But the main player that you're forgetting is what? Russia's over there, man, and Russia's got the most sophisticated weapons. All right, and not only that, Russia and America, they enemies. All right. And nevertheless, these Arabs over here, all right, they enemies to America. Them and America are enemies as well too. So what is stopping these Arabs from joining together with these Russians to take out their same common enemy? All right, and we can read about that in Ezekiel 38. But nevertheless, just playing this here out, like, damn, man, we both hate this motherfucker over here, and me and you ain't really got no beef. You know what I'm saying? How about we just join together and just wax that ass over there real quick? You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, it says, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots. All right, because we read, like I said, in Ezekiel 38, all right, how they're gonna bring them all the helmets and shields and bucklers and so on and so forth, man. All right, let me grab that real quick, because I keep referencing it, but I did that in a video the other day. This is Ezekiel 38. We start at verse 4. It says, Ezekiel 38:4, it says, "I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thy army, horses and horsemen, and all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. So not only are they going to have, these bucklers and these shields, which is going into what they missile defense systems that Russia's mainly selling. All right, they also just developed a whole lot of offensive weapons, man. The Kinjal, the Avangard, the hypersonic missiles, the nuclear powered cruise missiles, and so on and so forth, man. All right, what's stopping them from selling them? Let me keep reading. It says, verse 5, Persia, which is Iran, all right, Persia, Ethiopia, Libya, all of them, and Libya with them, all of them with shields and helmets, all right? So basically, let me keep reading. Verse 6, and Gomer and all his bands in the house of Tomargah of the north quarters, and all his bands and many people with them. Verse 7, be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So Russia's going to be the ones that selling them these missile defense systems, these offensive weapons, and so on and so forth. Like I said, man, who's really tripping over their militaries and they technology they got now? Nobody tripping over that shit because it's all old and outdated, man. All right, but nevertheless, now that they have a common enemy and they standing up, the weak is standing that they're strong, and these prophecies are coming to pass. Russia's now in the stage of developing these here weapons. Everything is falling into place perfectly fine, man. All right, so hey, we rejoice in the spirit because we see all the prophecies that we've been warning and telling you about falling in order right now, man. But let me go back to 2 Ezra 15. This is 2 Ezra 15 and 28. Whereas the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them carried as the wind upon the earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. All right. So for instance, America had no problem running up in Syria and bombing the shit out of Syria. But guess what? When Russia came over there, all right, and gave them that S-300, it was a no-fly zone for America, and America tucked tail and left out of Syria, man. All right, and they just basically put up, I believe they only had like 2 launchers over there, but nevertheless, like 2 or 4 launchers over there. So nevertheless, hey, Russia's starting to be this here guarding to these other nations, mainly these Arab nations, man. All right, but not just the Arabs. Let's keep reading. Verse 30, also the Carmanians, which is the Iranians, all right? Also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boar of the woods, all right? So look, the Iranians are going to go forth raging in wrath, all right? You know what a wild boar is, right? It's like one of them big-ass black pigs, man. And we got a lot of them bitches be running around like out here where I'm at, right? But nevertheless, you don't even got to be close up on one of these things. Let one of these things catch a sight of your ass. He going to charge your ass, man. You know what I'm saying? He going to just run up on you and charge you and try to just stomp your ass out, man. And this is the spirit that these Iranians are getting in right now, because recently, over the longest period of time, they've pretty much been pretty peaceful as far as engaging against other nations, right? But nevertheless, now, and again, nobody was really making these type of strikes at America or anything like that. But guess what? They beat nature's like, yo, y'all want the smoke? We got the smoke. All right. So it says also the Carmanians raging in wrath. This is what you see. This is, after the death of Soleimani, all these differences that these people had is all became minuscule. Now they're putting all their hatred to the side for one another, and now they're pointing towards these Edomites over here in America, man. All right. It says, also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the woods, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them. All right, who are they joining battle with? The dragons of Arabia, which are the Arabs. Arabs. All right. So like I said, the Arabs and the Iranians, they two different people, man. One of them are Elamites, and the other ones are Shemites. All right. So they basically two different people. That's like saying the so-called black men and the so-called Africans. Well, we two different people. You know what I'm saying? One of us is Shem and the other, well, we Shem and they're Ham. All right. But it says, also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the woods, and with great power they shall come and join the battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. Who is the modern day Assyrians? All right, that's America, man. All right, but nevertheless, they say that they're gonna basically be banding together with these Arabs. And right now, after this here attack that happened over in Iraq, all right, Iran and Iraq are becoming closer and closer friends, man. Now you're seeing Iraq trying to kick America out of their bases in Iraq right now, man. Iran designating the American soldiers as terrorists, man. So now they all working together in tandem against America right now, man. All right, they're no longer being docile. They're waking up and beating their chests against them right now. All right, verse 31. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand. All right, so hey, man, hey. America is not looking so well for them. Hey, look how long they've been in the fucking Middle East now and ain't really accomplished But they've been accomplishing what they tried to accomplish. It's just disrupting all that shit and turning everything over. But guess what? Everything is snapping right back into place, man. All right, you thought that going over there bombing the shit out of them people and destroying them morally and all the things, you just beating them down, it would just destroy these people and they will fall in line with you. No, it just made them emboldened against your ass to really see that you the damn devil, man. All right, it says, and then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature. All right, and if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together and great power to persecute them. So they're gonna be with one consent, conspiring, all right, with one breath, all right, together with great power to persecute them, all right, because like I said, a lot of these Arab nations, they're not really cool with one another. But guess what? They about to start joining together and see what the benefits of, being friendly with America or being, friendly with each other, or being enemies with each other. How is it gonna benefit them? It says, verse 32. Then these shall be troubled, bled, and kept silence through their power, and shall flee. All right. And hey, that's what you got going on right now, basically. Well, Trump's saying they trying to stay over here, but hey, they about to be up out of there, man. All right. And from the land of Assyria shall the enemy besiege them and consume some of them, and their hosts shall be fear and dread and strife among their kings. All right. But nevertheless, the point I wanted to grab was the fact that, these here moves is joining these nations together that weren't, how do I say, in tandem with one another, man. They were actually somewhat enemies beforehand. They had differences, different religions, and so on and so forth. But it's bringing them all together right now because why? They had that same common threat. All right, which this is all to build up towards World War III, man. These are the times that we living in, man. The year of prophecy, man. We like 10 days in, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yo, you got, 355 more days left of this here year, man. Hey, that's the whole damn year. All right, but nevertheless, we're going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakak Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Aki, in pushing this truth and sincerity in the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.